Hello, and welcome to this Thursday. I am so excited that you guys are here and that we are going to have our special guest, Traci, coming in. Hopefully, she said that she's backstage now, and I don't know where backstage is, so we're going to have to look for that. Hopefully, we won't have to click out and then click on again. Anyways, welcome. We are celebrating our release of Chocolate Bunny Betrayal over in the Cozy Crew, and I'm also hanging out at Southern Sisters. And so I hope everybody is hanging out over there and saying hello. But we are in the Cozy Crew as well. But let's go ahead and add our friend Traci. Hey, Traci.
Hey, guys. How are y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Forgive me. I'm in a room and we have a little house in our backyard, and I'm back here because my dogs are taking over the dang house. And I was like, they're going to bark and they're going to get in my lap. Chocolate Bunny Betrayal. I have to say this to you about your new release. First, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
But it is so funny that you would release that. So you guys in Italy, they don't have an Easter bunny. They have an Easter chick, and the Easter chick brings big chocolate eggs. And I just ordered some. And in fact, they're supposed to come tomorrow. I wish I had one to show you, but one day I was talking to some Italians and I was like, that's so weird that you have a chick. Why do you have an Easter chick? That's weird. And they were like, actually, well, we were kind of wondering why y'all have a rabbit that brings your eggs. I was so embarrassed.
I'll have to research that, but thank you. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. You know, when we first talked about doing this chat months ago, I think it was like maybe 6 months ago when I asked you.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize it was going to be a release day, but we're not here to even talk about that. I'm here because I love you and I want to talk about you and
you were so sweet
just
to do that.
Get everybody to know you. I've known Traci. I'll read her bio in a second, but I've known Traci for a while. I don't know how long we've known each other, but we've done some events together. We went on a cruise together with a bunch of
The boat. You guys. Tanya inspired a character in my series with her fun meter.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I don't know how many people here have seen the fun meter, but some of those people might have been on the fun meter when I did them at other conferences.
Okay, you guys need to speak up and like down in the comments. I need to know if you've seen the fun meter. I need to know if you've experienced it. Anytime I saw Tanya come in, I was like, I'm having so much fun, because if I wasn't, she would turn the meter. It had like min, med, and max, right? Like minimum, medium, maximum. And, you know, she would turn it down to minimum. And I would just be like, the shame of the author. So I was like,
yes, you are not having fun.
And I was like, minimum. You are min.
You need to do something to have fun. This is not fun. But if to me, fun is being loud and obnoxious, probably, which is
actually
correct. But I know I saw you and Diane in the bar one night, and so our friend Tina DeSalvo, her husband had taken my husband to the casino, and like he was like had a crowd around him, and he was like they were chanting him on because he was like not Eddie's husband.
Oh, I was going to say, well, Eddie's popular. Like he has his own little fan club, I'm thinking.
He's totally, who's that? Her husband?
Eddie.
Oh, Eddie.
I thought you were going to say the crowd was around Eddie.
Oh, they were around Tina's husband, and they were chanting him on, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So that's when I went to the bar to walk through that casino to find you guys. And I thought y'all were like, oh no, here she comes.
I'm sure I was elbowing Diane and saying, look like you're having fun. Yeah. I don't know why, but I lived in fear. I lived in fear of my fun meter being min.
That is so funny. I love it. Well, let's go ahead and get started by reading your bio, because you guys, I just love Traci so much. Traci Andrighetti is a USA Today bestselling author of the Frankie Amato Mysteries and the Danger Cove Hair Salon Mysteries. And she is a co-author of the Killer Foursome Mysteries, which we'll get to that too. In her previous life, she was an award-winning literary translator and a lecturer of Italian at the University of Texas at Austin, where she earned a PhD in applied linguistics. But then she got wise and ditched the academic stuff for a life of crime writing. Good news of Traci's upcoming books and latest capers are on her website at traciandrighetti.com. So Traci and I are going to actually spend the week together next week.
Oh my gosh. Austin, Texas, y'all.
I know. And I just ordered me a car. So I was like, because I've never Ubered and I'm not going to Uber. So I just ordered me a car.
No.
And
if you write mysteries, I can't believe you would take an Uber, you know?
No.
No.
It scares me. So, but anyways, you guys, Traci, she has just always been so kind and so good in the Austin community. You have, and you always been kind to me.
So I'm far more than any of the rest of us. I will say.
No, and I cannot wait to spend a week with you. I don't know what
I can prove it. I can prove it, y'all. She's sharing her release day talking about me.
Oh, that's all right. That's old hat. They don't care. They don't care. But I want to get some questions because there's some questions that I don't even think that I've asked you before. And so, you were a translator and a lecturer. Like, what exactly is that?
Okay, so I taught Italian to students at the University of Texas, which I did that for 11 years. It was probably 11 of the most fun and hilarious years of my life. And because I knew Italian, I started translating books. I wasn't really brave enough to write one of my own. I had never really wanted to be a writer, but I was like, ooh, I love mysteries. I love books. And so I started translating some. And then one day, it was one of my students actually, she was like, I don't know why you're not writing them yourself, And so it kind of went that way. And I was like, you guys, I don't tell stories. And one girl started laughing so hard when I said, I don't tell stories, that she laughed, slammed her hand on her desk and put her head down. And the whole class was and I was like, do I tell stories? And they were like, oh my gosh, do you tell stories? So yeah.
And so is that how you started writing, or tell us how you started? How did you just decide to say, oh, I think I'm going to be a writer? Like, what made you make that crazy cuckoo decision?
It is crazy. It is crazy. Well, what's crazier is spending a chunk of your life getting a PhD and then having to write this big dissertation at the end of it and knowing with certainty that maybe 10 people in the world will ever read what you just spent all of those years doing. And so I had finished that and I let a year and a half pass. And then I wanted a big project again. I wanted to write something. And it was a student from Frisco, Texas, came back into Austin and said, would you meet me for lunch? I met her for lunch and I said, I miss having a big project like that. It's weird. And I was like, maybe I should do research. And she goes, you don't want to do that anymore. This young, 21-year-old girl. And she said, you need to write fun stories. So I really have to, her name was Chelsea. I really have to credit her because she's sort of the one that made me finally say, I've been hearing this a lot. Maybe I should do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I started writing a book. I entered it into a contest to win a month of mentoring from an author. And that author was Gemma Halliday. And she said, I want to publish this. So that wasn't what I thought. I thought I was getting a month of mentoring if I won the contest.
So your actual first series got published.
Yeah, that's the Frankie series. And then at a certain point, I bought my rights back from her and started publishing them myself. But I left the Danger Cove Hair Salon Mysteries with her because that's a series within a series. So it didn't really make sense for me to do to publish that on my own. And I kind of like having her taking care of that. It felt sort of sad. She's actually a wonderful person, extremely generous. And I felt sort of sad leaving. So this was sort of my way of having my cake and eat it too. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so yeah.
I love that. So the actual Danger Cove hair salon series is a cozy, like what I would consider like a true cozy.
Yeah, it's a true cozy.
And there are different subgenres for the readers that are here that don't know. Like, so we have the umbrella of cozy, and then under that we have the subgenres like craft and hobby, cat
Culinary.
or animal cozies.
Yeah.
I don't know what else are there. All different sort culinary cozy. So what do you consider the Frankie Amato? Because it's not really, I don't really necessarily consider it cozy.
I don't either. I've had this conversation with an author. I had this conversation with Zara Keen, and it's more just a humorous mystery. I don't say any bad words or things because my mother reads them, y'all.
I'm with you. I know.
So yeah. And I don't want my father to come and say, your grandparents are rolling in their grave. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
There's some pressure.
Oh yeah.
It's more a humorous mystery because I didn't know what I was doing. I left academia and then I started writing, and I took a class to write Limoncello Yellow, the first book, with an author who's she's now a New York Times bestseller. Her name is Kristen Harmel, but she didn't write cozy either. Okay. But the class was a long time ago, and it was Introduction to Chick Lit, when we still called it Chick Lit. And so I said, hey, I want to take your class. Is there any chance I could make it a mystery? And she said, sure, why not? So that's why it doesn't really fit. I actually have a really great idea for a culinary cozy series that would be a true cozy series. But you guys, I'm slow. We'll get to that. So
yeah, but also, I don't know, the 4-person cozy mystery that you're writing, the Killer Foursomes. Talk a little bit, because and I know a lot of my readers are probably your readers. So a lot of people on here and that will see it are probably people that already read you, but I don't co-write. Like, I have never co-written. So tell them a little bit about what that series is and kind of how you guys came up with who the other authors are. And
how that works. So Arlene McFarlane, who writes about a hairstylist in Boston, little town outside of Boston, called the Murder Curler series, she had the idea. She had the idea to get 3 other authors in on a series with her where we bring our sleuths together. So the first one was a bachelorette party that they all were invited to in Niagara Falls. We just picked some random place that was not like any of our settings for our series. And then she invited Leslie Langtree, who writes the Mary Rath mysteries, and she's like an ex-CIA agent turned Girl Scout. And then Diane Orgain writes the Kate Connolly mysteries, and they take place in San Francisco. Well, I didn't say that right. Her character's name is Kate Connolly, but it's the Maternal Instincts mysteries. Because her character, I'm telling you, is always pregnant, it seems like, which is an issue in our books. It was really fun. I mean, it was supposed to be a one-off. And so we put them all together in a bachelorette party setting, a neutral setting. And the way that it works is Valentine is her POV for chapter 1. Then it goes to like Mary, then it goes to Frankie, then it goes to Kate, and we start over. So we write alternating chapters. And sometimes we create a character and have chapters from that character's POV, and we all have to write those. So it's very, very fun. after we did, the first one is Four Sleuths and a Bachelorette. After we did that, I said, if we're really gonna, introduce people to our sleuths, we should keep doing it. We should do one in each of their hometowns. So that's what we're doing right now.
I love that. That is so cool. That is so fun. I just have never written with somebody like that. So do they read your chapters and you read their chapters to make sure they're all cohesive?
Yeah. We have a Zoom meeting, and we talk about, since we write the chapters like one after the other, that means we have a meeting and we talk about those 4 chapters. What's my character going to do? What's going to happen in the next one? But so let's say I go first. I write my chapter, I post it in a Google Doc. Then the next person who goes, they read my chapter and then they go. Yeah. But we've already sort of agreed loosely on a plot that they're going to follow. And then we just keep going. So then it's time to do the next 4 chapters. We have another Zoom meeting. We comment in the document. We change things because they have to write our characters.
Right.
So you'll be seeing like the party from Frankie's point of view for a chapter, and then it ends kind of, on a fun kind of cliffhanger or something, the chapter. And then you go into Mary's point of view, like what she's seeing while all this is happening. And it's been really hilarious. I hadn't really written with anybody either. And I don't want to say I was nervous about it. I just thought like, okay, well, I hope we all have the same work ethic, and we do. So it works out. But it's been really fun.
So I'm going to pull them up here and put the link in because everybody's like, oh, those sounds like so fun. So I'm going to put the link in the thing here. So they can get that. So people on YouTube and Facebook will be able to grab that link to check out the books. So that brings me to my other question that I wanted to ask, which is I was going to ask you, but I'm super interested now about this. So for the readers that are here, we kind of put ourselves in a writer category called the plotter or the pantser. So as a plotter, we will plot out the book. And so we will write from that outline, and generally they don't stray from it. Well, as a pantser, you just start writing the book from chapter 1, and then you think, oh, I hope I got those clues, or you have to go back and edit it, but you just kind of write all the way through, and whatever the characters tell you, you write. And I'm somewhere in between those. Like I will plot like the murder, the suspects, the killer, because we really write a mystery backwards. Like people are like, oh, how do you write a mystery like from beginning to end? I'm like, oh, you don't. You kind of really write it backwards. You start with the murder, like there's a murder. You got to go backwards to see where the beginning of the story is to why they got killed. But and I find myself going to like chapter 10, because I usually write 20 chapters some reason. And I will go back at chapter 10 and I will kind of plot up to chapter 10. But then by that time, my mind is already crazily somehow, as we do, kind of finish the book by just knowing those few details. So first off, I want to know how you do it, but I want to know, are you guys plotting these books? I mean, you have to plot something, or you just kind of, or then you guys like say you come up with something funny and they're like, oh my gosh, let's go with that. Or how do you guys?
I think what I do is kind of what we do. So I call it a plotster, what you're describing. I've heard some people, and this is terrible, I heard some people call it a panty liner. I don't. I don't know.
Hilarious.
So
I just got an image of me seeing you next week with the little thing of panty liner. Hey, I got you.
Don't be surprised if I turn up with a box. So I have to do what you do. You have to know who's killed and why. And so when we have our meetings, it's the same thing I do, with the same thing you're describing. In a meeting, we're like, okay, what's the murder? Well, we, with our titles, we started with Four Sleuths and a Bachelorette. so we, I don't know that we planned this as well as we should have. For mine, I did book two. It
Hilarious.
was New Orleans. That was Four Sleuths and a Burlesque Dancer. And the next one is kind of it takes place glamping in Iowa in like and it's Four Sleuths and a Barnstormer. That's what we're doing now. And the glamping is hilarious. Anyway, we have a meeting. We figure out who dies in that setting, in that person's hometown, and they bring in some of their characters. Like we write some of their characters, or they do, and then we just figure out the murder, who the suspects are, and then the first 4 chapters. And as we see how those 4 chapters develop, that's when we have a meeting and we're like, okay, what do we do in the next 4 chapters that, like, you know, drives the mystery on, that maybe introduces somebody else, you know, throw on our little red herrings. I mean, it's remarkably easy. And the thing about it, I mean, from a writer perspective, we write 20 chapters too. And basically that's what I do as well. So I who am I'm notoriously slow. I'm writing a book in 5 chapters because I have 3 other authors, you know, writing their 5 chapters.
Right.
So it's very fast, actually, and it's really, really fun. And it takes away that, you know, I know that you're a lot like me because I have met you. You're very extroverted. You're very high energy. You're a people person. You're a lot of fun.
I know the last time we got off our chat, Eddie's like, golly, she sounds a lot like you. I said, yes, and then I showed him the picture. He's like, oh, yeah, we played bingo on the Lido deck.
Oh, my God.
That room we were in.
Wait, I hope he's coming to Austin next week, by the way.
No. With Rowena.
Oh, man. Well, by the way, tell Eddie I am waiting for him to have his own section in the newsletter. So
we'll discuss that later because we have talked about it.
Okay, yeah, that's got to happen.
So, anyway, so continue on about.
But yeah, so when you're doing it, makes writing so much more fun. Do you know what I mean? So yes, you have your own book, and you still, like, I still write my Frankie series my way, but I'm not as in my head by myself as much.
Yeah.
And then I also know because Frankie is appearing in this other series. It's just it has helped me to have fun with her again. Yeah. Because, you know, after you write these books, you're like, I like to keep it fresh, and I work very hard to keep it fresh. But gosh, I mean, especially somebody like you who has as many books as you do in a series, you just keep thinking like, oh no, is it getting stale? Well, they help you see how funny your character is. They also will say, oh my gosh, I love how Frankie does this. And you're like, you do? I never thought that was the funny thing. And then it gives you all these ideas. So I really recommend it.
Oh, well, I really do. I'm jealous. I don't think I could find a good group of ladies that
you can.
I would love for May to have something like that. And it reminds me of maybe like y'all have, it's a short story, a short mystery, but it's long because you're all in it.
But yeah, it's a book. It is a full-length cozy. It's just that I've written a total of 5 chapters, but because they alternate, So when my turn comes up, I write that chapter and then I go back to writing whatever Frankie book or I'm working on. And so it really is great. It's kind of like a fun little break. And I get to see her interacting with other characters, and it's fun. And it really does keep things a lot more fresh and interesting. So
I love it.
Yeah.
So what about Traci, the single author? How do you plot or pants, or how do you do that? What's your preferred method? You don't have to be accountable for other people.
So my situation is a little weird because my stories, I always have like an Italian liqueur or a wine in the title and a color. So I don't just have to think of a murder. I have to think, how does that liqueur or wine and color factor into the mystery?
Right.
And I have to come up with a different, it can't be the same way every time. So I figure out the murder, I figure out the color. A lot of the liqueur, a lot of the time that starts with me researching the Italian liqueur, like limoncello made from lemons, right? So I research, like, is there any stories about it? So by the way, for Twisty Tales and Cozy Crimes,
Yeah,
I
I put
wrote,
that link in the first. It should be the very first link. So Traci does have, and we can talk about that too, unless you guys watched my Twisty Tales interview with her. But she's in on the Twisty Tales group that I'm in, and she has a free book in that series. But go ahead. I just want to make sure that they saw the link that's already in the chat.
well, the idea for that, so it's called Nocino Noir, and Nocino is a walnut liqueur, and I actually have started seeing it around restaurants in Austin, which really surprised me. I was like, what's going on? So Italian liqueurs are sort of having a moment in this country, which is sort of strange. But
Cool.
Nocino is associated with the witches of Benevento in Italy. So this old witch legend, they made this walnut liqueur, and there's all these like stories. And so I was like, okay, what could I do with that liqueur? And Frankie goes into a coffee shop and they make a walnut liqueur cappuccino. So that I was like, okay, yeah. And maybe, maybe the coffee shop's owner's mother is there and maybe she seems like a witch. And, that's how I started doing it. And so having that extra element of the liqueur or the wine and the color, that's what helps me, also gives me ideas for the story. And then the last thing that I do before I kind of come up with a list of suspects is, because I'm actually writing in a real town, New Orleans, instead of a fictitious town, I try to find in every book some aspect of New Orleans to highlight. So one was on like a Mississippi steamboat. One was there's a whole kind of creepy vampire culture in New Orleans. One was like vampires. One, I on and on. One was a plantation home.
Wow.
I try to always think of, something like that.
And what is it about New Orleans that you love? So Traci, real quick. So when I was doing my book boxes before COVID, Traci was so great. She had sent us, I think you just sent me 50 copies because I only did 50 book boxes. I did 50 a thing. And whenever they were gone, they were gone. And not only that, she sent Mardi Gras beads for everybody.
I'm wearing some now.
Yeah, I know.
You guys, I'm turning them on.
I don't have many on. What made, how cute? Look at that. I saw your little, I saw mine. I was like, what is she just?
Well, I also have, look at this. I have a pink sparkly crawdad. So yeah.
I love it. So what made you pick New Orleans, though you don't live there?
So I grew up in West Texas. I once had a much, much stronger Texas accent than I do now. I grew up in West Texas. My dad is the son of Italian immigrants. And so he had grown up as a young boy eating all these like, stuff that we can get anywhere now, like prosciutto, salami, like Italian deli meats and things. We could not get those in West Texas. This was pre-internet, pre-fancy grocery stores. We didn't have that. And so, periodically my dad would load up the car with coolers and we would drive to New Orleans, where there is a place called Central Grocery that's famous because it was a place that all these Italian immigrants shopped, years ago, and it still exists. And we would go there and load up. And so there was something about those trips, like going from West Texas to New Orleans. I was like, whoa, what's happening here? And also, you guys, if you think about it, New Orleans has, like I said, it has vampires, it has steamboats, it has old plantation homes that are supposedly haunted. I could go on and on. It has there's like Civil War history. There's all these different things going on there that we didn't have. I mean, West Texas, we had oil rigs, cows, we had dirt fields, tumbleweeds. We had tumbleweeds.
What about armadillos?
Yeah. And you know what? We moved to Houston. And so that's where I that's where I don't know how I kind of lost my accent when we moved to Houston when I was in the 8th grade. But just going from West Texas to New Orleans, I just like my eyes, it was another world, and it just stayed with me.
Yeah.
And I go periodically, and something like really weird will happen, and I'll be like, oh my God, that's like the theme for a book. It's just, there's always something crazy that happens there. Oh, and I can show you like this. Look at my Mardi Gras Christmas tree wig.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Didn't you just order that, or is that the one that you just got? Like, you
I
have
got
a
this,
couple, right?
I've got a bunch of these. I got this recently. So Fifi Mahoney's in New Orleans. And you know what? Women just walk around wearing this kind
But
of
you're
stuff.
not wearing that tonight.
No, I should have. If I'd thought about it. It's not Christmas. But a bunch of people, when I posted this on my author page, they were like, oh, that's such a good one because and these are people from Louisiana. They're like, Traci, you can wear that for Christmas, you can wear that for the Epiphany, and you can wear that for Mardi Gras. And I was like, right? I can get so many uses.
And they all just wear them around just all the time, or
there's always something they're celebrating. So we think of it as like just Mardi Gras, but these Mardi Gras organizations, there's women's, walking crews, there's women's parade groups, there's men and women's, there's just men's, but they have charity events that they do all year long. And they host different events and things to raise money for their causes. And so like the Marie Antoinettes, or Marie Antoinette, but the Mary, Merry, they like show up and they're like crazy Marie Antoinette wigs that are like this with like flowers coming, and you'll just be walking down the street like in June, not anywhere near Mardi Gras, but they're having some event or they're doing some fun thing. And so it's just normal to see this kind of stuff. And I could never wear something like this around. I did it in Austin, and like on a dare. And I mean, people were staring at, like, they're not laughing a lot. Some people loved it, but other people was like, what are y'all doing?
I love it. I did just post your author page in our group too. So people that are on Facebook,
well, you're going to see a lot of this there.
It's hysterical. I love it. I love it. It is that just gets the attention of so many people. But you touched on like your covers and how bright they are, what they look like, and they're inspirational. So let's show limoncello yellow. So let's talk about your covers. Now that these are your books and you got this series back from the publisher, correct?
I have what it used to look like right here.
Okay, let's see.
So this is what so the cover designer is Lindsay Llewellyn, who I love.
The new cover designer?
The same.
Oh,
so this is what it looked like when Gemma did it. And people loved this girl as Frankie. They loved her. And also she has, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little bit of crime scene tape like over. I'm doing this backwards.
Gemma always had great covers.
Can you tell, like, I just cannot do this? My finger. I'm like,
I can't either. I'm like, where is this cover behind me? You're doing good.
So I used to at conferences, by the way, I have a crime scene tape. Like, I had so much fun with all this stuff. Well, when I took them over, like, there was no pressure on me to change them. However, a really hilarious thing happened. I was some Sisters in Crime thing where a woman was speaking, and she leaned into the camera. It was on Zoom, and she said, and if you write cozy mysteries, please don't put crime scene tape on the cover. It's so amateur. And I just was like, I was like, oh, maybe I should update my cover. So I told Lindsay, I love the colors. I love that. Right. I was like, can you do something where we keep that, but we take off this girl and we take off the crime scene tape?
And that's what we have. So, and it's beautiful. But what I love about it is the touch of murder.
Yes.
The little skull.
Yeah.
the little guy up there. The touch of murder that's in it. That's one of my most favorite things. And that's, another, I was going that way. When we were designing these covers, because I originally was just writing these for my Patreon group. So they're short. They're like 50,000 words. They're super fast. And I just was doing like little covers. And I told Mariah, my cover artist, I just want it to be like, just the bunny ears gone, just kind of funny. And just to play on the words,
Yeah.
although people are going to know it's a cozy mystery. And so I love those little subtle details. And so all of your books have that vibrant. So who is the cover artist again?
Lindsay Llewellyn.
Lindsay Llewellyn.
And that's who Gemma used. And I loved what she did. And so like for Nocino Noir, for Twisty Tales and Cozy Crimes, I said, I need a cappuccino with a witch's hat in the foam. I want a wand, some walnuts, a bottle of the liqueur, and I think an orange peel. And she just did it. Like I don't ever have to say, I don't like this. Could you change that? She just gets it. Yes.
Yeah,
like
I do have it from our other interview. There it is. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So she just gets it, and then I don't have to make any changes. So it's so convenient. I give her a list of things and I'm like, choose from among these, just put something together. And that's what she did right off the bat. I was like, perfect, we're done. I have my my Twisty Tales and Cozy Crimes cover. Okay. We're good to go.
And this is the book that's free. So it's free till September, and then we're going to charge you. So I put the link in the comments, like the very first. So I know we have a lot of comments on here, so you'll have to kind of scroll up to get those. So I also want to get back to you and yourself, and it's hard to be a writer. I mean, people don't understand, how difficult it can be. And like today, for instance, Eddie, I think I need to start putting in conversations of Eddie and I. He is too good for me. I tell everybody that. People, my friends, call him Saint Eddie.
He's wonderful.
He is. And so, like today, he said, "Oh, I'll go get you. We needed coffee. We're almost out of coffee. We had enough coffee for 2 pots. So I like my 3rd pot in the afternoon. So I said, I need to go into the store to get some coffee. And then I need to go get blood pressure medicine for next week. I got to have my medicine next week because I don't want to have to stroke out on you next week, Traci. So
with those 3 pots of coffee too.
3 pots of coffee. And so I said, I got to run to the store and get my stuff. He goes, oh, I'll get it. I said, Eddie, I've got to get out of this house somehow.
Yes.
Whoa. Crazy just came right on out. And so because I just needed to get out of the house, even though it's beautiful up here and I can just walk around in my woods, I just needed to get out,
you need to see a person. You need to interact with a human, if only just to purchase a bag of coffee, or you know what I mean?
Yes. So, and like yesterday, a girlfriend of mine drove up 40 minutes, like begged her. She was 40 minutes away. I'm like, please come see me. And so yesterday I spent the afternoon with her up here, and we had some fun. So, but, and Eddie, he is my biggest cheerleader. And that's been the best. I mean, he just always has believed in me when other people are like, huh? What are you doing? You're what? And then when you start publishing, that was really like, what? Because he's the one who said,
why do you do that?
Are they not good enough to be traditionally published?
Yes.
And Eddie's the one who has first told me about self-publishing. And I went, oh, no, I can't do that. Like, this is when he had a Sony e-reader. The Kindle wasn't even around. And I said, I can't do that. That's not real publishing. And here we are.
I know.
10, 12 years later.
We're so glad we did do that.
Yes, we are. But anyway, so I want to know, who is your biggest cheerleader? Who, through this whole thing, you've had to have one big cheerleader.
Actually, my mom. My mom loves to read. Unlike me, she's really quiet, reads a lot, a thinker. I'm just sort of like, hey, I want to like go out and do and stuff. And she's like, where's my chapter? So I write a chapter and then I email. What?
You write a chapter and she reads it?
I write a chapter and I email it to her, and she comments. But like, if too much time passes, she's like, where's my chapter? I need to know what happens. Like, I need to know if this, or she'll comment on, she'll pick up on something in the chapter that I wasn't even thinking about. And she'll say, I can't wait to see how that turns out. And so sometimes like she has given me really great ideas, not meaning to. Like she thinks, oh, that's what Traci's doing. And I was like, oh no, I wasn't, but that's a good idea, Mom. She proofreads things, you know what I mean? She sends me a list of like all my typos and anything that doesn't make sense. So yeah, absolutely my mom. Absolutely.
I love that. Yeah, my mom years ago used to send me little mistakes here and there, but not so much anymore. But I think that that's great. Now, is your mom? She doesn't live near you right now, right?
She's 25 minutes away.
Oh, how
Yeah.
nice! I'm so
Yeah.
jealous. Oh,
Yeah.
how nice.
Yeah.
So
They
you're
live
all
in
in
they
the
live in
Austin
Cedar
area.
Park. Yeah, they live in a suburb in Cedar Park. But yeah, like years ago when my dad finally retired for his job in Houston, they moved here to be closer to my son and me. Probably my son more than me. So yeah, no, they are very close, fortunately.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
I love that. I love that.
me too.
So that brings me to my next question. Now, do you write full time, or do you have a what we call a day job? Now,
I
I
have
still think writing is the day job. Um, but in our industry, they'll say, "Oh, do you write full time, or do you have another job?" They call it the day job. I don't know.
I have the day job, and
You,
it is like so cool. I never know if I'm really allowed to talk about it.
yeah,
Um,
you don't
I
have to.
no, well, I can tell you that it involves like crime and prohibited things online, and so I was very intrigued by this. I was like offered a job. Um, so I was offered a job prior to this one, just out of the blue on LinkedIn, because a company in Austin, a tech company, saw that I spoke Italian and they really needed help with that. And so I was literally like helping the Italian police and the Italian, like, yeah, I mean, it was crazy that me, Traci, in my house in Austin, Texas, was like working with Italian police on like murder crime, like mafia killings, all kinds of stuff, you guys. And so it was very hard, but I made the decision to leave that job and I took another one that is like even more adventurous, sort of in a different way. And I keep thinking, you know, these kind of kooky, crazy jobs that I take, and it's all because of Italian. It's all because in Texas, there's just not that many people who know it. So I haven't really gone looking for the jobs. They've come looking for me. Same with the teaching Italian at UT. And so it has been a series of adventures, but I actually feel like the books are sort of the biggest adventure yet, if that makes sense. Even though it's in my head and I'm writing things on paper, I have been meeting
I
people
love
like
that.
you. Like, but I've been like with you on a boat with the fun meter. You know what I mean? I've been like, we're going to be seeing each other in Austin next. Like, it's just.
Oh gosh, what can I do to give you some fodder?
Do not bring the fun meter.
And the panty liners.
I'm gonna have the panty liners. That's already, yeah, I've taken that. I'll dibs on that.
I love it. I love it. So we're going to have a few more questions, and then also if anybody has any questions that they want to ask Traci specifically, start putting those in the chat if you have any questions for her. And then after she and I get done with our questions, and I'll kind of scroll through, and then we won't take up much more of her time. We've already been here with her for about 45 minutes.
I will, which I'm loving it too. I will also answer any of your on her page. I will go to her page and try to comment. I don't know how much I can answer on your page, but I will reply.
Yeah, sure. So what is your favorite season to write in? Do you get the seasons in Austin?
I was about to say it's like 83. It's 83 today. So that's like that's winter on the I mean, not quite, but yeah, it stays pretty warm.
I think it's it's 70 here. Yesterday here it was like 30.
Oh no! We don't do that very often. In theory, I would say fall, but fall comes with all of those like cozy like things that make me lazy and sleepy and eat and cook and presents and you know. So maybe I should go with I don't know summer. I don't know.
Summer. And how hot does it get in Austin?
It's been 110, 112. So you stay inside and you write your books.
Yeah. Too
Yeah.
hot to do anything.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
You're not really out enjoying the summers in
Oh, oh
Texas.
my goodness, that's hot.
Yeah, you have
Okay,
to stay in.
so what is your okay, so a lot of people ask me this question, so I wanted to ask you, what is your favorite snack when writing?
Nutella straight from the jar with a spoon, licking my fingers. I don't just yeah, it's bad. It's ugly. It looks like a crime scene. I'm not like sometimes
I love it.
if I get that jar, sometimes I like see myself like in the mirror and it is a horrific crime scene.
You're writing good books. We love the Nutella. They should be sponsoring you.
Oh God, no, because no one needs to send me any free Nutella as part of a sponsorship deal.
I love it. That's hysterical. So, when you write, uh, since you do work outside of writing, you have two jobs, two full-time jobs, because writing is a full-time job. Do
Yeah.
you write at night or in the morning before work?
I do not know how anybody can write at night. I collapse like early. I also am like I discovered when my son was small. So I did the PhD late in life, and so when my son was small, I was doing it. And so when he woke up in the morning, there was no more like working on school stuff
Right.
like that. I started getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, which is crazy, but I love it. The world is silent. Like there's nobody I'm going to call. I'm not going to go to any store at 3 o'clock. And then I'm not going to leave my house at 3 o'clock in the morning. And it's silent. No, like my husband's not coming in and going, did you know we're out of mustard? Which don't get me started on, on being a writer and that kind of the men coming in and telling you the obvious. I'm sure. So Eddie doesn't do that to you.
Oh, yeah, he does. Or sometimes he'll like come in and kiss me. I'm like, right now, I'm like, and he's like, I just want to give you a kiss. And I'm like, you just took me out of my flow. Like,
Yeah, it's gonna take me an hour to get back into this now. I forgot what I was gonna
killing him in
do.
the book. I'm telling you, I told you, Saint Eddie, too good for me. So yeah, so you do it at 3 a.m. still? Like right
Yeah,
now?
3 or 4, and then I will. Fortunately, I can work from home for the day job, so I can write for like 5 hours, then get ready. And
I'm
then
fascinated. Well, next week you can just come over to my hotel room and write at 3 in the morning if you want. That's where I'll be at.
I'm sure you'll be up with the coffee. Yeah.
I know. I thought about calling the hotel today to see if they had a Keurig in the room so I could bring my own Keurigs.
So I had a room at the hotel and I canceled it. Maybe I should try to get it back. Yeah, I think I should try to get it back. That's not going to work. I need to get away from my dogs and my husband asking me where or telling me, did you know we're out of mustard? Like I will say to my husband and son, so on the weekends, I try to make up for the like you said, it's a full-time job.
Oh,
so
right.
on the weekends, I write a lot. Like I will write for like 8, 10, 12 hours sometimes in a day. And yeah, it's crazy. And I will tell them like, don't come in and talk to me in my office unless it's important. And like they'll throw open the door and say like, I didn't see the ketchup. I think we're out. And then I'm going to go get some. Like, yeah. And I'm like,
they don't understand. I think the flow of it. But Eddie will say, well, I've learned my lesson this time. I know. I mean, which brings me to my next thing is that you said you work sometimes 10 to 12 hours. Now, I always try to hit a word count every day because in my head, I'm like, okay, I need to do 60,000 words. So if I want to write 60,000 words in 30 days, I divide that up and I do the math, and that's how I work. So do you have a word count or a page count? You just write until you're tired?
No. So I know like I have a scene and I try to sketch out the scene. Then I try to fill out the scene. Like then bits of dialogue start coming to me. So I like type the dialogue. Then I go back and I'm like, is it funny? No. How can I make this funny? So then I figure out like, and sometimes that's when I have to like stop and take a walk, get on my treadmill, do something right to figure out the funny if it wasn't already. And then I put that in, then I look at it again, and then I like clean it up, and then I move on. So I'm like the weirdest writer I've ever met, which is, I think, another reason I'm slow. People have told me like, don't do that, do sprints, do this. I've tried it, and there's something that stops me
Works for
from
you.
going on.
Yeah, we can't break Traci.
Yeah, because it will break me if I'm like, this isn't funny. I can't give a humorous mystery book. I cannot put that out there and not think I tried my best to make it funny.
Right. Oh yeah. I always go back in and write the funny. Like I always do the skeleton and then write
Yes. Yeah. The skeleton is so important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the skeleton is mainly just my sleuth and her solving the mystery. Then I go back in and add the others and the funny and their one-liners and the southern. So I love that. So here is my last question before we get on with the readers. I want to know, because this is really hard, I think, how do you define success in your career? When people say, some people define it so differently. How do you define success in your career? Some people say it's a number of books. Some people say getting published with a traditional publisher. Some people call it as a monetary value.
Money has never been a motivator. I set a goal when I went away to school. It was like, whatever happens, I'm going to make sure that I'm enjoying myself. I'm going to make sure I'm enjoying myself. And I consider success, I don't look at it by the year, how many books. I consider success writing a book that made me laugh at certain points as I was writing it, where I'm kind of giggling like, oh my God, I can't do this. Yes, I can do this. Finishing it and putting it out there. And I celebrate that each and every time. In fact, and you would think I'm a big drinker. I am not, you guys. In fact, I just can't drink that much, notoriously. But I make sure that whatever the wine or the liqueur is in my title, I go and have one drink with that when the book is done.
I love that.
And I sort of toast to the book and to the fun and to the adventure that is tied to the book. And I try to kind of write some of the little adventures I had while writing the book in the back of the book. So that's success. It's just finishing each one. And I feel lucky. Like, I know a lot of writers don't like having a day job. What I have liked about the day job is I'm somebody who I very much cannot just do one thing. So I either need to write with a group of authors on another book, or I need to have another thing. So that while I'm doing that other thing, those Frankie thoughts come to me spontaneously, the funny, maybe the things that I was trying to force on a page and I just couldn't get there. So all of that is just part of my very weird, crazy Traci process.
I love that. I think that's great. I think that's a great, everybody defines it differently. So before we get on to the questions, I do want everybody to know that, again, the link for this free book currently is the very first comment in our and also, I am going to give away I'm going to do 2 giveaways. I'm going to give away a copy of her 4 Sleuths.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I'm also going to give away a copy of her first Frankie book.
Okay. Well, in true Traci fashion, since you're doing that, tell me who wins. I can either send them the books or you can, but I'm assuming, or if they're ebooks, no, but I want to mail the winners. You're going to get Mardi Gras beads, and you're going to get a little something they call lanyap in New Orleans. It means a little something extra.
Yeah.
You're going to get beads and a little something extra, and it's not a book.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm going to pick 2 winners, and I will get their email from you as well. So I'll get the email to you.
Or a mailing address, like whatever they're comfortable giving me. But I can't.
They'll give you a mailing address. I always give out something they know.
I have a friend You guys, I have a friend who's I will close with this. Her grandmother taught her, she's from Louisiana, and her grandmother taught her when she was very, very young that you never give away an empty purse. Whether it's used or new,
Oh,
you have to put
a
something in
little
it.
coin in it or something.
I feel the same about books.
Yes,
Like I cannot just send a book. It has to have a little something of New Orleans to go with it. So
I love it.
be prepared.
So Denise asks, the New Orleans parade of a wedding party. Have you used that before in a book?
A wedding party.
Mm-hmm.
So it's coming because my character is engaged. And so it's coming. And I get a lot of emails from readers based on the series that have like lots of hilarious ideas. And, you know, her landlady is an ex stripper, which has been all sorts of like funny and weird for her, an aging ex stripper. And so a lot of people
Which is
have
the
said,
best.
yeah, a lot of people have said like, oh, you know, like there's got to be a bachelorette party. There's got to be a bachelor party for her fiance. And so, yeah, the wedding party is coming, you guys.
I love
It's
it.
coming.
I love that. So that is, look forward to that, Denise, and get on Traci's newsletter. Let's see. I'm going to Chang. I probably messed that up with my Southern accent. I'm sure my hillbilly accent, really. What are your inspiration for writing these cozy mysteries?
The crazy adventures that I've had in New Orleans, and I'll give you a perfect example. I thought, you know, what is this like New Orleans vampire legend stuff? So I made my husband go on a haunted history tour where they talked about the vampires. And you guys, this really happened. I am not making this up. So the whole time we're like going to the places, and you know, it's just a goofy little tour, right? Like we're hearing the legends. We stop and have a cocktail. We hear some more legends. And there was this lovely woman. She was wearing cute jeans and white tennis shoes and this really cute little white striped sweater. And she kept asking, she and her husband were from New York, and she kept asking all these questions of the tour guide. And they were interesting questions. So we get to the end, and I finally say something, and it made her, the woman, laugh. She turned and looked at me. She had full on vampire fangs, and they were not plastic. How could I not go home? How could I not go home? First of all, I was really shaken because I was like, those teeth, that was not
That was
plastic.
like real.
Those were like, they actually will have them done permanently.
Oh
And so, but otherwise, you know, would it be like if you just turned and laughed at me and like I saw that you had big,
you'd be like, oh.
So as we were going home from New Orleans, just all the ideas, I was like, Campari Crimson has to be a vampire book, and that has to happen, and that did. So it does.
I love that. That is an awesome story. Heather says, went on Zoom with everyone for the Force Loose. How much time you spend laughing versus working? She said it's a fabulous team.
So I laughed even when you said it, because we will say, okay, we're keeping this meeting to an hour. We'll be 2 hours in, just cracking up, like sometimes like laying down, like I'll lay down and like just laughing, like what it's crazy. And I have to say, you guys, Leslie Langtree in particular, she is like her book. She is her character. And so these things like we're trying to plot, and Leslie's coming out with these like wild like things like her character Mary Raff does, and it's
just hilarious.
It's something to see.
Yeah, I love her books, and Diane's a talker, so I'm sure y'all got to talk over her.
so is Arlene. So am I. Like, so it's not there's not like a shy one in the group, and there's not a quiet one in the group, and so it can take a while. So a way to kind of like stop that is sometimes we'll like kind of email a little bit of our ideas. I thought we could talk about this and try to get everybody reined in.
Yeah, I love it. That's a great question, Heather. And then Tammy asked, do you listen to music when you write?
No. I really admire people who can, but I am so easily distractible. I have the attention span of a squirrel. And so that's why, like, I can't have anybody come in. I can't have a noise. My dogs, like, they're so needy. I have the neediest little dogs. That's why I'm out here in the backyard building, so they're not like one of my dogs has never done this, but he came in this building and he tried to climb on top of the desk. He doesn't climb on furniture, and he just was being needy. Like, and I just was like, okay, put him back in the house.
Just gotta.
So yeah,
Yeah.
no music.
Yeah. Sometimes I do, but it has to be very faint. So it's rarely. But
it would have to be something where there's not like words that I might stop and sing along with and then go, what does that line mean anyway? And then I'm not writing my book anymore.
I love it. I love it. Well, I'm real fancy with how I pick people. So I just scroll up the comments and wherever the little finger, that little pointer finger lands is who wins. So let's see who won this copy is Andrea. Andrea on YouTube won this copy. Andrea, you can email me. I'll type it in the chat at author Tanya at gmail.com. Email me your mailing address. We would like to have that. And then we will pick a winner for this through my also fancy handy dandy stuff. Wait, okay. Tammy Hudson. Woohoo! There you go.
Yay, Tammy
Hudson. You can just message me here on Facebook, which I probably already have your mailing address, but do it anyways. But I just want to thank Traci so much for coming on here. Like I said, I asked her to do it months ago, and I just wanted to share her with you guys because she's so fun and her books are great.
You are too nice.
I have not read the 4 sleuths, but I am going to buy myself a copy and I am going to read that. So
sweet.
And I love all those authors. So I know I love the books.
I really appreciate you having me on, especially on your freaking release day.
Oh, yeah. It's fine.
Remember to look up those giant chocolate Easter eggs, guys. They have like a big, like big, huge wrapping and like a bow. And sometimes there's a surprise inside.
And so it's from the Italian.
You could look up, let's see. I'm going to try right now. If you just do like Italian chocolate egg, maybe. They're some of them are huge, like huge. Do you see them? If you look up Italian chocolate egg.
A special Eastern. Oh, wow.
Do you see the big packaging, the big like.
Yeah, hold on. I'll get a picture up. Look at me going, oh my goodness.
And again, like you can get the ones that have a surprise inside. Sometimes it's jewelry. Sometimes it's like a little kitty thing. It depends like if you get one for a grown-up or a kid. But yeah, oh my gosh. So the chocolate Easter, like the chocolate bunny betrayal would have to be a chick if you translated this book.
Oh, it's not letting me. I was like, the website is like, no, you may not. Oh my goodness. Yeah, like they're beautiful.
They're wild. Yeah, they're wild.
Like they're like, you cannot, that is not a.
And so companies that we have heard of here, like if you've ever had those little, they're called Baci Perugina chocolates, like you open them and there's a little fortune. They do sell those in the United States. They make a giant one. But you guys, even like stylist Dolce & Gabbana makes a chocolate egg. Like, I mean, everybody in Italy, well, that could be one. It's huge like that, but it's in a wrapper. Do you see?
Yeah, I got in a wrapper. Let me see if I can put this one up for the wrapper. And the wrappers look like very colorful.
They are. And I'm so bummed. And like, so my shipment comes tomorrow. It would have been perfect if I could have held one up.
You'll have to put a picture up on your author page, which I have also linked to here. That?
Yes. Yes. So see how big those are? Like sometimes there's some that, I mean, you're carrying them and they're half the size of your body. And they are chocolate. Some of them have hazelnuts inside, like actual whole hazelnuts. You can get them in white chocolate, dark chocolate, milk chocolate, like what, but a lot of them have a surprise inside. Yeah. And so you break into the egg and you see what your surprise is. Like last year I got a silver bracelet.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And I thought I buy my kids the scenes, the sugar scene eggs.
Oh yeah.
So I just ordered those, and I didn't think that they cared about. I used to get them, and they're boys, and you can't eat them anyways because of that hard sugar. But the cute little scenes inside, and so it was when they were little. I mean, I just always bought them up to
my mom too.
And so I thought, well, I don't know if they'll want those, but then one year, my son brought his girlfriend home, and I'd gotten him one and her one, and she's like, "Oh, he's been so excited about this." This 25-year-old kid, so excited about this hard Easter egg, and for us to get it because it's a tradition. And I don't think she was very impressed, but
It's
we love to do
nostalgia,
every year
though.
after because now it's a tradition. She's like, "I can't wait to get my Easter egg."
It's nostalgia. Like it's my mother bought me those too, and I love them. And sometimes the ones that had the little green grassy stuff in them,
Oh,
and
yeah.
with the icing
Oh,
decorations
yeah, I just got
on the
mine in the
opening.
mail. A lot of people, they used to have a company here in Cincinnati that made them, but they don't make them anymore. So now I have to order them off Etsy of all places.
Etsy.
Yeah, I order them from this lady from Etsy every year.
I can't believe that. I mean, so people have stopped making them. That's
Yeah.
disappointing. Oh my gosh, one of my dogs is scratching on the door. My husband
Well,
must
we've
let him in the yard.
over the hour. So, but thank you so much, Tracy. You guys, I
Thank
have linked
you.
her author page, her Twisty Tales book, which I wasn't even going to talk about Twisty Tales, but I knew that, oh, I want to do that. And then the fun giveaway. So, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. And Tracy, I just love
Yeah.
seeing you. And I
Thank
can't wait
you.
to give you a big old hug on Monday.
And I'm giving you a big old box of panty liners. And you guys, I will answer all of your comments.
That's right. The big Nutella jar and some mustard. All right,
Thank
Tracy.
you
Good
so
night,
much.
everybody.
Bye, y'all.